the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
It's your boy Rags with another hot episode of DD30 on the Dirty Network. And before I get started with the great topics that I have for you guys, I want to give a special shout out to all the people that have been watching, all the people who've been reaching out, wanting to get on an episode with me. I totally appreciate all the effort and all the great encouragement that I've been getting for these shows. Before I get started, I'll say I do want to address a couple things first. I am going to start having guests on this show soon. Just not yet. I'm still working on enhancing some of my edits and enhancing the page and making the page pop, getting some more followers, getting some more engagement before I get some guests on the show, because I don't want to waste my guests on some shows that probably won't pop as much as the ones that will in the future. So shout out to you guys that are always hitting me up and encouraging me and asking to be on the show. I definitely appreciate it. Your day is coming soon, I promise, and I'll definitely be hitting people by the orders that they reached out to me. So that will be coming soon. Definitely want to tell you guys to make sure you follow the IG page. Make sure you follow the Facebook page. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. You're going to start seeing a lot of action on my pages just to try to keep with the flows of social media. Just try to be a little bit more active. You can also follow the Twitch page. I'm going to have every single tag on the top of this to make sure that you guys know exactly where to find me and how to find me. All right, it's your boy Rags. We got a great show on the DD30 Sports Talk Show. Of course, we got to get into some of these football results. Great weekend of football. A lot of big upsets. A lot of big, I would say, disappointments from some top teams. So in the dirt today, we're definitely going to talk about some of those games, some of those football games. On top of that, we're going to talk about some matchups that are going to be coming up this weekend. All right, so that's going to be the dirt. We're going to have a lot of football news. Baseball, of course, we're going to talk about some free agency. Not a lot of movement going on right now, but we are going to talk about which team needs to make the move, which team is prime and set and ready to make a which team is prime and ready to make a World Series run, and which team needs a little bit of nicking, who needs help, who needs Josh Hader, right? Who needs these guys? All right, so I'm going to talk about that in the baseball section. And, of course, got to talk about basketball. We have a bunch of big-name teams that are struggling right now, the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers. Is it too late for them, or would a big move help them get into a playoff position? It's your boy Rags. I'll be back with the dirt on DDTV, the Dirty Network. Make sure you subscribe while you're waiting, all right? And check up all the social medias. Catch up. Make sure you're in the right place, all right? It's your boy Rags. We out. DDTV. All right. Thanks for watching that small clip, and I hope you subscribed and follow along like you were supposed to. All right. So on the episode of the Dirty 30 Sports Talk, it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about some football with the playoffs starting. And we had some great games on the wild card weekend. Of course, I got to talk about some of the biggest disappointments of the weekend, and of course, some of the biggest surprises of the weekends. And again, if I miss your biggest surprise or your biggest disappointment, make sure you let me know. All right, I'll address it on the next show. But it wouldn't be right if I didn't start the show off talking about the Cowboys and how they completely blew it. They completely blew their best chance at a Super Bowl in years, all right? I'm only 32 years old, so I haven't seen the Cowboys my whole life, so I would say about 20 years of me watching football, I haven't really seen the Cowboys be relevant. But with that being said, you couldn't ignore the fact that the Cowboys have been killing teams at home. They have a way better record at home than they do on the road. Dak Prescott has looked good at home. The defense has looked good at home. You would think that they were set up to succeed. The Eagles, they ended the season as bad as you can for a team that had Super Bowl aspirations. I believe they lost 5 out of their last 6 to not only lose the division, but to slide to the 6th seed. On top of that, they got beat by the Tampa Bay Bucks last night. So their season just went off the rails and completely finished. So we'll talk about them later. But I'm on the Cowboys because they absolutely fumbled a prime opportunity to reward their fan base, because I'm telling you, the Cowboy fans are so loyal. They'll tell you that they have the best chance to win the Super Bowl every year. And I mean, like I said, when you look at the paper and you look at where they were at in the NFC, there's no big time quarterbacks in the NFC. Like, let's just be real, all right? If the best quarterback in the NFC is Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott, it's not a lot going on there, right? So for a guy with Dak Prescott's abilities, right? We've seen him make plays. We've seen him do big things. Now, again, his criticism is always going to be, well, he pads on weaker teams, or the Washington Commanders of the world and the Giants of the world, which is true. But you can say the same thing as the Eagles. The Eagles and the Cowboys, they take advantage of their easy divisional schedule, where basically they're getting 3 to 4 guaranteed wins just in the division, because they have to play the Commanders and the Giants twice a year, both apiece. So for the Cowboys to get that number 2 seed, yeah, it's not the number 1, you don't get the bye, but you have the home field advantage. Here comes the Packers with not a rookie quarterback, but a first-year quarterback. He hasn't started until Aaron Rodgers departed before this season. So this was his first real season, first real year of actually playing and performing. His first playoff game absolutely torches the Cowboys defense. Embarrassing, if you ask me, for the Cowboys to show up the way they did. And, there's a big problem where teams that just think that they can show up and, we're supposed to win this game. We're the Cowboys. We have 15 straight wins at home, yada, 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 whatever the case may be. Whatever is getting in these guys' heads, you cannot help but blame the coaching that these guys are not prepped and ready. If for them to come in with the mindset to think that the Packers were just going to roll over and let them win, I think that was a big mistake. That was a humongous mistake. Right? Because you can see once the Packers got that first touchdown and Dak Prescott threw that pick, from there, the moods were, oh man, here we go again. Here we go again. You could almost hear it in the stadium. It was so bad, right? And then I believe it was 20-0 before Dak's pick 6. And after that pick 6, you might as well have just not even played the second half. The game was over. The game was over. The attitudes, the mentality, everything was over. So what's the fallout from all of this, right? That's the big question. The fallout for the Cowboys. Well, unfortunately, you have to be real, right? You have to take the blinders off and take a real good look at your team. And when you look at it, your team benefited off of winning against bad teams, right? Beating up on the bad teams, which you're supposed to do. But when it came to playing a team with a winning record, a team that is just as hungry as you guys did not live up to the hype. You just didn't. You didn't answer the call, right? So just everybody's expecting big changes. I mean, Mike McCarthy out as head coach, I think that's just guaranteed. Like, that's not breaking news. I think that's it. Like, you can't keep going one and done, especially when you have the number 2 seed. Like, that's the biggest deal in this whole thing. You have the number 2 seed. You wouldn't have to play a role playoff game until you played San Francisco, if San Francisco made it there, right? So big loss opportunity. The Cowboys, on top of that, look at the teams that are left right now. You got the Lions, you got the 49ers, you got the Packers, and you got the Bucks. These are the teams that you would have the opportunity to go against if you're the Dallas Cowboys and you took care of business. Playing the Bucks at home. That's a game that you could win. It's disappointing all the way around. But if I was coaches are going to be moved. But maybe the biggest question mark was that defense. Oh my goodness, Dan Quinn. I know he's getting a lot of head coach. Like he's a hot head coach candidate right now. But man, that had to take a hit after that Cowboys game this weekend, because that defense looked soft. They looked weak. They looked like they didn't even want to be out there. You had Michael Parsons being held down. They basically focused a lot of their attention on Michael Parsons, and they basically said, can anybody else beat us? Aaron Jones running through the middle of the offense like he was freaking Walter Payton. Like, they couldn't tackle him, they couldn't touch him, they couldn't get him to the ground. 3 touchdowns in that one game when Aaron Jones only had 2 touchdowns the whole season. If I was Jerry Jones, the owner, hey, Mike McCarthy, you got to go. Nice seeing you. Dan Quinn, go ahead and take that job for the Seahawks because you're not coming back here. That's it. You can't even be the next head coach. It just wouldn't even work for me. Just doesn't even make sense. So Cowboys have to be number one on the biggest disappointment list. Number two on the biggest disappointment list, of course, has to be the Eagles. What I said, I think that the biggest disappointment is the NFC East, right? Like the Eagles and the Cowboys, they benefited. They had great records throughout the season, and everybody hyped them up as top teams in the power rankings. For both teams to get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs just shows, one, how weak the NFC East really is. Two, how weak the NFC is, just period. Because there's not really a big powerhouse juggernaut team other than the 49ers, or another team that can match the 49ers. Like, it's ridiculous. So, at the end of the day, you got to make the right decisions. You got to reevaluate. You got to take a look at your team and notice that, hey, what's going on here is not working, and it's not going to work. All right? So, tables are, the heads are going to roll off the tables, as they said. People are going to be moved around. The Eagles should absolutely be embarrassed. They didn't even put up a fight against the Bucs. Yes, they were on the road, not like the Cowboys, but damn, like, you're supposed to have the better quarterback in that matchup. You're supposed to have the better running back in that matchup. You're supposed to have the better defense in that matchup, and none of those things were true. Baker Mayfield, shout out to Baker Mayfield, man. Shout out to the people who aren't the number one at their position, or they're not the top recognition guy, and they take a slice of humble pie and say, look, I gotta go back to work. I gotta put some work in to be a starter in this league. I gotta prove myself. I really hope Tampa Bay re-signs Baker Mayfield. He seems like a good fit there, and I think he's just scratching the surface of what he could do. So shout out to Baker Mayfield. You got to be impressed with what he was able to do with the Tampa Bay Bucs. No, he's not Tom Brady, but he's at least giving that team an opportunity to win. So got to give big ups to that. Now, the biggest surprises in the NFL, it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about the Houston Texans, right? I know the Texans are in my beloved Jaguars division, and we lost the division to them, but I have to give credit where credit is due. Houston came out to play. And guys, we got to stop with these, we're not going to give these teams a chance. 9 times out of 10, the talent on the field is very identical, especially when you're talking about the NFL. Like, everybody's there to make money. Everybody wants to create a legacy. Everybody wants to feed their family, right? So the talent is almost neutral at that point. The main thing that's going to come out, who's going to come out winning, is who wants it more, right? And that's the thing in sports. That's the equalizer, right? That's going to take you over the edge. We might be the same team, or your team might be a little bit better than mine. If I want it more than you, if I want to get that 1 yard more than you, if I want to get that first down more than you want to stop me from getting it, that's usually the team that wins. And that's what I've seen a lot this weekend. I've seen the Browns were getting a lot of credit, and, rightfully so. They have a great defense. But we didn't give enough credit to the Houston Texans and what C.J. Stroud has done this year and what he is still going to do. That man is a superstar quarterback, period. We've said that before the draft. I said it before the draft. I said I would draft C.J. Stroud before Bryce Young. I said it 100 million times. Doesn't matter. C.J. Stroud is the real deal. He's a real leader, all right? He's got the size that a quarterback needs. He has the abilities that the quarterback needs. It's just that simple. You gotta look away from the rookie stuff. Oh, he's a rookie coach, rookie quarterback. You gotta look away from that. None of that matters. What matters is C.J. Stroud is a leader of his team. His coach is a great leader. That defense stepped up. Them boys, I'm telling you, I'm watching this game, and them boys are running full speed, making tackles, hitting guys, not being afraid, being up for the challenge. And the Browns folded. They folded. But again, I picked the Texans to win. I thought they would win. It seemed like the Texans were a better team to me. I know the Browns have more hype, but the Texans has a really good team. And I'm really excited to see what they do with the Ravens. That is not going to be an easy game for the Ravens. I mean, I do expect the Ravens to win, but it's going to be, C.J. Stroud is going to have something to say about that game. And if you can't stop that man, then you're going to have some issues. All right, so I'm definitely excited to see the games this weekend. and see who's going to rise to the occasion. On the AFC side, we have the Baltimore Ravens going against the Houston Texans, and then we have the Chiefs going on the road to play the Bills, and the Bills have been very impressive lately. Now, what I would say with that game, because that's a very exciting game, that Bills and Chiefs game. One, this will be the first road game that Patrick Mahomes is playing in the playoffs, other than the Super Bowl, of course. On top of that, the Bills are hungry. The Bills think this is their year. The Bills have made changes in the middle of the season, and they've been playing basically playoff football since they were 6-6. And if you listen to their guys talk in a press conference, they say the same thing. So there's something to that. That team, they've been ready. They're up for the challenge. Again, they're a cold weather team, so they're not worried about the elements. Again, looks like they're going to make a big push. That game is going to be great. Chiefs and Bills, I cannot wait for that one. That's going to be, out of all the games, that's going to be the one that I'm making sure I cook some wings for, have the potluck going, and, have the people over and watch it in the theater, right? Like, I really want to see that game. So, excited about all the football that's going on. It's definitely going to be some great things. There's also some coaching candidates that are out there that might be looking to go to a new team. We're going to talk about the coaching situations after this break. We're going to talk about where Bill Belichick's best fit could possibly be. On top of that, should he take the Dallas Cowboy job? That's a big question. And then we also have Jim Harbaugh doing some interviews as well. So when I come back, we're going to talk about that. And then to end it, we're going to talk about baseball. Not going to have a lot of basketball talk. I know there's not a lot going on, but we are going to put a little basketball at the end too. So thanks for watching. We're going to take a quick break and talk about some more football right after this.
Very own Beat Rags. You know what I'm saying? Real Local Royalty #1. Let's go.
All right. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed that quick little commercial break. And as we continue to talk on DD30 Sports Talk Show, again, make sure you subscribe and you make sure you watch every episode. Don't miss. All right. Definitely got to talk about a little bit more football because there were some head coaches that were fired, and there are some big-time head coaches that are looking for new jobs. All right. So two people, of course, that we got to talk about would be Bill Belichick and would be Jim Harbaugh, the coach of Michigan, who just won a national championship. So let's talk about Bill Belichick first. Because, I mean, when you're a fan of football, who's been watching football for a long time, sometimes you don't think these days would ever come, right? Like, you don't think the Tom Brady's of the world will retire, or you won't think Bill Belichick will ever leave the Patriots, yada, yada, yada. But the fact of the matter is, these things do happen, and they happen all the time. So, hey, the fact of the matter is, Bill Belichick being in New England, that ran its course. Like, that time is up. Like, it happened. It was a good run. Got 6 Super Bowls. Boom. I think you got as much as you can out of that, right? Be happy about that. Now, I think Bill Belichick, he sets himself up to basically go wherever he wants to go. On top of that, I know he's chasing Don Shula's wins record. So he's going to want to play on a team that's going to help him get wins and not 3 wins a season like the Patriots were. So there's a lot of options out there, right? And I know there's been some news out already that he's had meetings with the Falcons, and I'm sure he's going to meet with the Seahawks, and there's also the Chargers position open. But the main thing is everybody is asking is, will he be a good fit for the Dallas Cowboys? Okay, so first of all, if you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for still watching. But yeah, wanted to put this in here just because I recorded this before the news came out that the Dallas Cowboys are going to keep Mike McCarthy for some odd reason. Nobody knows. But anyway, I still kept this on here because I think it was a good point that I made, and if Jerry Jones sees this, maybe he'll reconsider what he's doing because Bill Belichick to the Cowboys is just such a great fit. But just wanted to put this in there to let you guys know. It was recorded before that. I know the news came out that the Cowboys are going to stick with Mike McCarthy, blah, 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 blah. All right, I know. Thank you. And let me tell you, I would love to actually see that. And the main thing about that, right, is, of course, Jerry Jones, the owner. Now, at what point do you have to say, what I've been doing is not working? Jerry Jones, hiring your homeboys who you could invite over to your house and have slumber parties with, and, you could kick it with them, and they remind you of you and your brothers and all this stuff. Does not work. All right, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for 28 years. All right, the last time you had a legitimate team that made some legitimate noise was Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson. Right, those are the type of coaches that you need. Now, Bill Belichick will fall right in line with those two coaches that I just mentioned. Now, why would you do that? Because, like I said, and Jerry Jones has said this himself. His time on this earth is every year goes by that they don't win, he's getting closer and closer to the end, which is, that's being realistic when he's talking as an owner, right? He wants to see another Super Bowl before his time is up. And doggone it, the time is ticking. You cannot afford another 10, 20 years. You can't. All right? So how do you do that? You're going to have to switch it up, buddy. You can't just keep hiring your buddies and boy wonders and these guys who have all these expectations. Honestly, the Mike McCarthy came out of nowhere. Like, I remember when that hire, like, that came, like, it was like, where's Mike McCarthy looking for a job? Like, that came out of absolutely nowhere. Bill Belichick would be the perfect man for that job, and here's why. All right? One, everybody knows after the game, press conference, Bill Belichick, he gets on the mic, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't want to say anything. He doesn't try to say anything. He doesn't try to sugarcoat anything. He wants you to keep guessing. He doesn't want you to get into his locker room, into his mind, nothing, which is cool. That's good. That's his style. It works, all right? Jerry Jones, on the other hand, he wants to tell you everything about every game that he done seen, right? So he's going to have all the opinions that you're going to need, and you're not even going to need to talk to Bill Belichick. So, Bill, I can just worry about the games, and I can worry about the players. Go talk to Jerry Jones if you want his opinion. I don't know what he's thinking, and I'm sure you Jerry Jones would be happy to do that. Now, two, just the look of it, right? Like, I'm telling you, what bigger story would there be other than freaking Bill Belichick with the Cowboys, right? And we know Bill Belichick's main goal. He wants to win that Super Bowl without Tom Brady, just like Tom Brady did without him. Let's be real. We're all humans. I would want to do that, right? Imagine the storyline. Bill Belichick to the Dallas Cowboys. And not only that, Bill Belichick takes the Cowboys to the Super Bowl? Let's not even talk about winning it yet. Could you imagine if Bill Belichick, let's just say in the first 2 years, I'll just say 2 years. If the first 2 years there, he takes the Cowboys to the doggone Super Bowl. That right there would lift him to, oh my God. They might put him in the Ring of Honor in the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's real. That's real. So I see that possibility there. Hey, Bill Belichick, make another legacy, right? Now you got a Cowboy legacy. That's going to put money in the bank too. You know what I'm saying? So that would be very interesting. A very interesting dynamic. I've heard people say, well, maybe he'll get the Eagles job. Maybe they'll get rid of the Sirianni. I don't think Sirianni deserves to be fired, honestly. Like, his team was just in the Super Bowl last year. Obviously, the team has been banged up. Like, they played that game yesterday, or they played that playoff game without A.J. Brown. Like, that was their best receiver. They weren't good until they received A.J. Brown in a trade from the Titans. So without him, they were back to that team that wasn't that good. Like, let's be real. Like, you got to be real. Jalen Hurts hurt most of the season. Knee injury, finger injury, this and that, shoulder, whatever. Hurt. All right? Other than A.J. Brown and Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, what do you have? You don't have anybody. So one guy gets hurt, that's it. It was a tough season for the Eagles. You don't just go blow everything up for that. They lost a lot of guys on defense. They lost their coordinators. Hey, reset. Bring some more guys in. Guys spend some money. I know Jason Kelsey just announced that he's retiring, so you're going to have to bring in somebody to replace him. It's going to be work. But that's what the GM is paid for. You don't just go and fire the head coach for one hiccup. I wouldn't even call it a bad season, a hiccup, right? So I see him keeping his job. I don't see Bill Belichick going to the Eagles. The best place for him is the Dallas Cowboys, man. I hate to say it, but dang, wouldn't that be crazy? I don't even want the Chargers. Like, the Chargers, I know the Chargers have bad history too. Like, they haven't done anything in the playoffs either. But could you just imagine the Cowboys with Jerry World with Bill Belichick? Man, listen, the NFL script writers, oh my goodness, they would have a field day with that one. Trust me. ESPN, everybody, man, they would have a field day. But now you do have to say there is a but to this. Because if Bill Belichick goes to the Cowboys and they stink, and they don't get to the playoffs or don't get the 12 wins that they usually get, boy, that's going to hurt his legacy big time. That's going to be the biggest, you needed Tom Brady to win. And that's just it. So, everybody knows it's true. It's the truth, right? So, definitely excited to see what happens with that. Let me know where you think Bill Belichick's going to be. Is he going to be with the Falcons? I don't see the Falcons winning enough games. Cowboys is the fit for me. 2, Jim Harbaugh. Now, I know he's keeping everything very close to the vest after they won the national championship. He's out of there. Trust me. I feel like that his time there is done. Hey, accomplished the goals. We beat Ohio State 3 times, I think. 2 times, 3 times, whatever. We haven't beat Ohio State in a while, so beat them, right? Did that for you guys. On top of that, we won the national championship. Hasn't been done since the 1990s or whatever the number is. Maybe farther back than that. I haven't looked. But your job there is done. Go ahead. Go to your next thing. NFL. And I know this is the biggest one. The LA Chargers. And honestly, that fits him like a glove. The LA Chargers. Because, one, you have a top quarterback, which Harbaugh seems to be a quarterback whisperer. That's what they like to call him. So, boom, you got your franchise quarterback. You got weapons. It's not like the Chargers are a bad team. Like, they don't have anybody on their depth chart. They got some guys. Now, did they spend money in some bad places? Like, when they got J.C. Jackson? Maybe they spent some money on the wrong guys. But they got some guys, man. They got Bosa. They got Mack. They got Derwin James. They got guys, okay? They got guys on offense. You got Allen. You got Williams. You got Eckler, which, I don't know if he's going to be there after this year because I know he was looking for some money. But you got Herbert. You drafted a wide receiver first round last year. I know he didn't do that good, but he's got talent. So you got guys that are there. They just need the right coaching. That Brandon Staley, what he did to that team was a disgrace. Oh, my God. That was terrible. Terrible. I'm just terrible. His press conferences, the games, just everything about it was bad. So, definitely excited to see what Jim Harbaugh does. I know the Seahawks are definitely going to look at him too. He's familiar with that division because he was with the 49ers before he went back to college. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks didn't give him a call, give him a shot. So I would see the Seahawks being the number 2 option, and then maybe the Raiders. But I know the Raiders are looking at Antonio Pierce and keeping that job. So shout out to AP because he did a great job with the Raiders. So exciting time in football. A lot of great news. Like I said, you let me know which move you would like to see for coaches. Who do you think's going where? Again, I got Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers, and I got Bill Belichick going to the Cowboys just because I want to speak it into existence. I just want that to happen. Like, that's going to be so much fun to talk about. So again, let me know what you think. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back with our next topic, which is going to be on baseball free agency and also baseball Hall of Fame ballot. Got to get my Hall of Fame ballot in there. All right, we'll be right back.
That's what it's about. I love it.
All right. We are back, and thanks for watching DD30 Sports Talk Show. And the next topic is going to be on baseball, and I am going to talk about a little bit of baseball free agency. But actually, I want to start off by talking about the Hall of Fame ballot because the Hall of Fame results for 2024 is set to be released January 23rd, and it is one that I will be watching very closely for one particular reason. Gary Sheffield. All right. And I'm prepping for this. I'm getting ready for this. If Gary Sheffield does not make the Hall of Fame this year, it is his 10th year on the ballot, and he will be removed. All right. If that happens, which means I believe he has to get over 70%. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact number. But if he does not get that amount of votes and he falls off the ballot, you will see a very angry Rags on this show ranting about how ridiculous the MLB Hall of Fame is, how freaking biased they are, and how they do basically, they're disrespecting the baseball fans. Honestly, if Gary Sheffield doesn't make it, they're disrespecting the black community as well. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to rant today, but it will come if he does not make it. I believe last year, if I'm not mistaken, he finished at 55%. I think he needs 75%. So he finished at 55% last year. All right, which was behind Andrew Jones, who actually needs to be in 2. Andrew Jones, he has a couple more years, but we'll get into Andrew Jones. He needs to be in 2. Billy Wagner, who I believe does need to be in, and Todd Helton, who you could argue there. I'm not too sure. Guys that are behind him are Carlos Beltran, which I actually believe deserves to be in, but people just don't like him. Alex Rodriguez, steroids. He should not get in. So now say you have steroid users that are pulling up after that. Manny Ramirez. All right. So that being said, let's just go with the freaking numbers. All right. Gary Sheffield, 22-year career. All right. 509 home runs. 509 home runs. Some of your favorite players ain't gonna reach that. Even the big time guys that you think are Hall of Famers right now ain't gonna reach that number. 500. That is a shit ton. All right. 509 home runs. 9-time All-Star. So almost a decade full of All-Stars. Almost a decade of being on the All-Star team. All right. 5-time Silver Slugger. 5 times he was the best hitter at his position. 5. That's freaking hard. Very hard. I tell you, Scott Rowland never did that. He's in the Hall of Fame. Batting champ. Did that in 92. Got that. 253 stolen bases. Nothing to sneeze at. Very good number. Dual guy. All right. Especially in his younger time. 97. World Series champ. Won a World Series. All right. You could put that on the list. 140 career OPS plus. Average OPS plus for an average major league player is 100. He's at 140, which means he is 40% better than the regular player, which is a Hall of Fame player, if you ask me. Now, again, that's the numbers. I'm going to take you past the numbers for Gary Sheffield and why he should be on the Hall of Fame, because this stuff matters. Gary Sheffield, man. First of all, let's get away from the stat. Let's get away from the stats for a minute. All right? Because that's the stats. The stats make him a Hall of Famer. 1. 2. The impact on the game. Impact on the black community. All right? I'll say this. Growing up as a young black sports fan, what made me like baseball in the early 2000s, you had Ken Griffey Jr., you had Gary Sheffield. Those are my 2 guys. Those are the 2 guys that I emulated the most. Of course, Reggie Jackson was in there as well. Reggie Jackson, he had the fall to the knee. So that was one of the first guys that I always used to just do in my living room. Of course, Ken Griffey Jr., I mean, everybody wished to have a Ken Griffey Jr. swing. Beautiful lefty swing, but I used to hit right-handed. So my guy to always imitate would be Gary Sheffield. He had a humongous impact in the black community. The guy imitated the most was Gary Sheffield. And not just me, a lot of kids. Black kids, white kids, Mexican kids, Puerto Rican, whatever. Dominican, all of them. They all did the same. They imitated Gary Sheffield. The famous bat waggle, right? The famous, you know, nobody, I mean, come on, man. He was known for that batting stance. He had the career that he had because he was a superstar. People knew who Gary Sheffield was. He was a Hall of Fame player while he was playing. All right, Andrew Jones, same thing. But we're going to talk about Andrew Jones another time. He has some time. I'm talking about Gary Sheffield because this is his last year to be on the ballot. And I'm telling you, I will be on here ranting if he does not make that team. What's their biggest thing to keep him out? Only thing they got is they say he allegedly took steroids. Not that he tested positive, not that he was caught, not that he was anybody's book, not that somebody said I seen him using it, or I didn't know I wasn't using it. They're accusing him for using steroids. The man has got on record multiple times and said he has not used steroids. He's had people who are around the game a lot testify for him to say that he did not use. On top of that, he never tested positive. And he never been suspended for steroids like other people like Alex Rodriguez, who shouldn't be receiving any votes, if that's the case. All right? So, facts of the matter is, Gary Sheffield is a Hall of Fame player. He has 509 home runs. Show me another person who hit 500 home runs that's not in the Hall of Fame. Oh, wait, there is none. Every person who hit over 500 home runs is in the Hall of Fame, other than A-Rod. He's not going to make it. Barry Bonds should have made it. But, again, they love to put steroids on people, black people, when there's actually people in the Hall of Fame that have done steroids knowingly. Okay? So it does not make any sense to me that you have some of the best players in the league out of the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds should have been in there. Period. He was a Hall of Famer before he even got to the Giants. Period. All right? Gary Sheffield, he's on that list. He's a Hall of Famer. I don't care if he played for multiple teams. A lot of teams wanted him because he was good. That's what happens. All right? So, at the end of the day, you pull back the curtains. The stats tell you that he should be in. The impact that he had on the game says he should be in there. Why is he not in there? If he does not receive the votes that he needs, I will be back. And I will be back in a big way. All right? So, that's all the baseball news today. I'm probably not even going to get into any free agency because I'm really focused on the news of the Hall of Fame and if Gary Sheffield is going to get in. And if not, we're going to have a problem. And we'll be back. So, do what you want. Make the right decision. If I could vote, I would only vote for Gary Sheffield and maybe Adrian Beltre or Adrian Beltre, College Beltran, probably. Todd Helton, Bobby Wagner, and Andrew Jones. Those guys would be on my list this year. I don't see why that's not on at least 75% of people's lists. So let's make sure we get it right. All right? And I won't be mad. So you can leave me a comment. Let me know if you think Gary Sheffield is worthy of being a Hall of Famer. Did you imitate his batting stance? I know I did. I know. There's not one Wolf football player who didn't try to do the Gary Sheffield. All right, we all have tried it. All right, just amazing player that he was. So we're gonna take another quick break. Again, I'll be right back with the last topic of the day, which will be on the NBA. Will the Lakers or the Golden State Warriors make a move to make their team better? All right, it's your boy Rax, DD30. All right, we are back, and thanks for sticking with me for the whole episode so far. I hope you've enjoyed every topic, and I hope you've subscribed, you've followed on all my social media, and you've also took some time to participate, left a comment, said something, do something. You want to be on the show, but you haven't left a comment. Why? All right, leave a comment, be a part of the show first, and then we'll get you some airtime. All right, you gotta support the channel first before you get the airtime. Okay, so gonna end the show by talking about a little bit of basketball and. Of course, this is the kind of the dog days of the basketball season. We have the All-Star votes going out. So the All-Star break is approaching, which is, the basketball All-Star game is okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. It gets the job done. So main thing is we're almost at the halfway point. And when you look at the NBA, what do you see? All right. And we're going to focus on the West in this conversation. And we're going to focus on two big name teams in the West. Of course, one being the Los Angeles Lakers, second being the Golden State Warriors. All right. So both teams have some very big decisions to make coming up with the trade deadline. Number one. Well, first thing, both teams, obviously, they need help. Both teams are under 500. I believe the Warriors might be 13th in the West, something like that, something crazy. They're not doing well. On top of that, Golden State, they look old. They're getting old quick. You got your best player, Steph Curry. He's 30-something, along with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green being in their 30s. You have Andrew Wiggins, who just looks old. I don't even think he hit his 30s yet, but he just looks old. He's not playing meaningful minutes for that team, which is disappointing. Other than that, you got to look at the team. Of course, they still got Steve Kerr. He's a very good coach, but other than Steph Curry, what do they have? They don't have much. Their young guys have been very disappointing. You have Kuminga. You already traded James Wiseman, who was your first-round number 2 pick a couple years ago. So that's disappointing as well. So where are you at, right? Is it really time to break it all up and rebuild? Honestly, when you look at it, I think it is time. And I know it's hard, especially when you've won championships with these players. To look them in the face and just say, hey, we've outgrown you, or you've outgrown us. Like, it's just time to move on for the best of both, right? Klay Thompson, man, he needs a new change of scenery, man. He does not look happy. Maybe contracts had something to do with that. I know they've been discussing an extension that has not gone well for him. But damn it, you've been playing like crap. So why are you asking for more money when you haven't showed it? Now, of course, everybody's looking for, hey, well, we've been here. Where's my, I've won championships here. What do you look? Organizations that are good, they don't operate like that. They don't. It would make no sense to pay Klay Thompson $30 million a year for the next 4 years. And again, I'm nobody of any importance. Like, Klay Thompson's not going to come seek me out. He's not going to watch this. But I think he would tell you the same thing. He's not playing like a max contract player, or he's not even playing like a $30 million player. Now, will somebody take a flyer on Klay Thompson? Absolutely. He's still got game. He's still got a lot of game. Maybe just his time there in Golden State, it's just up. Maybe he feels unappreciated, which is his right. But when you do look out and, you go for free agency, some people might value you a little bit differently, and they might give you the money you're looking for. So if I'm Golden State, I'm looking for a trade deal. And is it a 3-team trade? Can you get Siakam in there as a big guy who could run the floor, who could give you a little bit more athleticism? All right, yeah, me again. And again, if you're watching 40 minutes into this show, dang, man, we are real friends, like for real, if you're still watching. But yeah, of course, had to put this in here, just make a little edit because made this before the trade. Yes, I understand Siakam got traded to the Pacers. Good for him, good for Halliburton. They're going to do big things together. So that's a loss for Golden State because that definitely would have been a good fit for them. But maybe Golden State still makes a move. But just wanted to put that correction in. Enjoy the rest of the show. Yeah, you're going to need that. Especially when you have Draymond Green, who's not going to give you no offense, but he's going to give you a lot of defense. Bring in another bigger guy who could kind of stretch the floor. On top of that, he could run the break. He could pass it. He could finish. I like Siakam there in Golden State. I think that would be a good fit. I've seen that a couple of times. Or Siakam. I think he's hot right now. I think Dallas wants him as well. But I see Siakam in Golden State would be a better fit for him. He's around a lot more shooters. Steph Curry doesn't need the ball in his hand the whole time. He usually comes off screens and off of Draymond Green action. You can add some more rolling action on top of that when you have Siakam as well. So I think that's a good fit. Now, when it comes to the Lakers, they definitely need to make a move as well. They're not looking as old as Golden State, but they look like they need some motivation in that building, which means people need to go. You probably need to move D'Lo out of there. You probably need to move Hachimura. If you want to get somebody good, they're going to want Hachimura back or Austin Reeves. So one of those guys or both are going to go. Do you want a Zach LaVine? I heard Zach LaVine's asking for a lot of money. Zach LaVine has never won anything, so I don't know how good that's going to be. If you want anybody from the Bulls, maybe you go for DeRozan. DeRozan's probably going to give you a little bit more effort, and we've seen him in the playoffs, at least with Toronto. So I would probably go for DeRozan if I'm the Lakers. Again, maybe it depends on who they're asking for. If you could give up less and get DeRozan, do that. I don't see why not. If you could get about the same and still get Zach LaVine, hey, try to find and get both. Get both, man. If they could get Zach LaVine and DeRozan, and if they just have to get rid of Austin Reeves, D'Lo, Hachimura, some picks, maybe another young guy in there, do that. Because now you got two legit guards to go with LeBron and AD. That makes that team a lot more serious to me. Hey, maybe you can even get Caruso back because I know they love Caruso there in LA. So whatever they can do to make a move with the Bulls, I think that's their best trading partner right now. I don't see Golden State sending Klay Thompson to the Lakers. I just don't see that. That would be nice for Klay Thompson. I know he would love that to stay in LA, which, it's not a bad fit. I just don't see Golden State doing that and making that move. So that's not really one that I'm thinking about a lot. But basketball has been fun. The trade deadline is coming up, so I'm excited to see what trades are going to take place. Do some of the powerhouse teams make trades to make their teams even better, like the 76ers or the Bucks? The Celtics have already made their moves in the offseason. I think they're good and set. But I do expect some of the other teams that are on the fringe to kind of make moves like the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. We're going to look for the Bulls to sell. We're going to look for the Raptors to sell, maybe some other teams like the Detroit Pistons and the Washington Wizards, but I don't know who you want on the Wizards. I don't want Kuzma or Poole, so we'll see what happens with that. But that being said, not a lot of basketball news, so I'm going to end it right there. and let you guys know it's been a blast doing this show. I'm having so much fun learning new editing tools and new tips. Let me know how I did. Let me know how you feel. Let me know how you can help. Be a part of the show. It's your boy Rags, and that's another episode of DD30 in the books. All right, your sports talk show on YouTube. So go ahead and make sure you find my IG page, and make sure you subscribe, and make sure you follow as well.
You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
Thanks for watching. It's your boy Rags to let you know that you should be subscribing on YouTube if you want to make sure you are a part of the DD30 team, the family, and the show. All right, you have to be subscribed to be a part of the show. You have to be on my IG page, on my Facebook page, everything. All right, so I'm here to tell you, make sure you take some time to go on YouTube and find The Dirty Network. That's DADIRTY, one word, space network. All right, you'll see the DDTV logo with the stars, and of course, you'll see my videos on the page. We also have The Dirty Network, DDTV, on IG, just like that. Go ahead and find it. You can also find it on my IG page. All right, tagged to some of my my posts that I put on my what is that, the board, whatever, the little post thingy. All right, just make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow every channel that you see that says DD30, because you're gonna see me all over that thing, and I know y'all love to see me. I know y'all love to hear me talk. You just can't just admit it. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm great. All right, so I'm excited to do more. I'm excited to be a part of your life, and I'm excited to be on your lineup of things to watch. All right, it's your boy Rags, your network.
You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.